doing, everyone? Welcome to this episode of the Cajun Conservative Show. I'm your host, Isaac Hayes, talking about life, talking about liberty, and talking about the pursuit of happiness, and showing you, the world, that Cajuns do have intelligence. Don't have my regular setup tonight, so the view is a little different, but that's okay. Ladies and gentlemen, we could have something a little different. An episode is coming out, and I'm excited to see what God has in store for this episode. As always, if you can, please hit the subscribe button, hit the follow button, tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell your family that there is a show out there that holds Christian conservative values. I need your help more than ever before, ladies and gentlemen. I'm trying to grow this show, and I can't do it alone. You know, a lot of people think that you get a microphone, you start posting on social media, and you start posting on video platforms and podcast platforms, that you're doing this all on your own. No, I'm not. I have people here in the studio helps it, like LB with Brothers Just Searching does a tremendous job with Brothers Just Searching. Go check it out. But ladies and gentlemen, this is where I'm coming to. You are helping. If you are listening to this show and you are a continual listener of this show, you are helping me out more than you know, and I am truly thankful for your help. I'm truly thankful for what you're doing, and none of this would be possible, ladies and gentlemen. Been doing this for 3 years now. Close to 3 years, and I'm excited. God has blessed me tremendously, and that is all because of you. You're instrumental in the work that BGS Media is trying to do here, trying to expose lies and tell the truth, and just not on the political side, but also on the spiritual side. On this episode, we're going to have Miss Kellie Alford. She is running for state representatives, District 64 seat here in Louisiana. Great Christian conservative woman, and we're going to sit down and talk to her. Now, we had her previously on the show, and her first interview is one of the greatest videos that we have done and podcasts. So go check. You're gonna love that interview. Love Miss Kellie, and she's running. She's in her second election this year because we have runoff elections, and her and her opponent, none of them got 50%. She showed up second. But if you live in District 64 for state rep, you should vote for Kellie Alford, and we're gonna go ahead and talk with her in the third segment. And ladies and gentlemen, God is good, and all the time God is good. Amen. And we're just excited to see what God's going to do for this episode. Ladies and gentlemen, I am waiting for the media to run the stories of an insurrection, just like in January 6th, on January 6th. What do I mean by that? Well, you remember on January 6th, we had a riot break out in the Capitol. And that was because of the Donald Trump protests that he called everyone to come to the Capitol. Now, granted, majority of people that were there did not storm the Capitol. It was a small handful of people that felt it was their obligation to run to the Capitol, which I think was not right. We talked, and I haven't talked to him about talking about that experience, but our friend Mike from I'm trying to say his name right, the Catalyst Unleashed podcast, Calderese, I said it right, Calderese Unleashed podcast, and he was there, and to my knowledge, I don't think he ran into the Capitol. But ladies and gentlemen, you know, that day we had people storm the Capitol. They had American flags. They were chanting things, and it was told that was an insurrection. Remember, that's why they're trying to get Donald Trump on all his get Donald Trump in Georgia, and in they're trying to keep him off the ballot. Correction, not in Georgia, that's another case, but in Colorado, and I think in Michigan, they are trying to keep Donald Trump off the ballot. Why? Because the Democrats have said, well, that was an insurrection, and according to, I think is the 16th Amendment, no one that led an insurrection should be on the ballot. So Colorado and other states. Now this has failed in New Hampshire and other states, but they're trying to keep Donald Trump off the ballot. That's why the Democrats are labeling this an insurrection. If you're an insurrectionist, you cannot run for president. You can't hold public office. And I think that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to keep Donald Trump off the ballot, and that's their main focus. But ladies and gentlemen, they call that an insurrection. Why? Because people stormed the Capitol, waved American flags, and walked into a public building that shouldn't, that they saying that shouldn't have been done. Now, I believe January 6th was a protest that turned into a riot. And ladies and gentlemen, was it right? Well, no, because it stopped what the Republicans were really trying to challenge a few of these things, and that riot messed that up. Okay, so that's my favorite. But the label that, remember, if you look, and all my listeners, you probably would. I remember that episode. I remember doing an episode just based on that. You watched on the television, you heard on the radio how they were storming the Capitol, and it was called insurrection, ladies and gentlemen. It was called insurrection, and still this day, almost 3 years later, January 6th is flashed in our face. And this is why I started this segment off by saying I'm waiting for the media to call for insurrection and call for, for violence and all that because of what happened Saturday night. What did happen Saturday night? I'm glad you asked. A protest in Freedom Square was happening Saturday night, and this was a pro-Palestinian, but I'm not going to say pro-Palestinian from this point, a pro-Hamas protest in Freedom Square. They were protesting what America is doing, supporting Israel at the most part. Okay, we know from the last episodes how some of these people, some people on the left, they have been they've been trying to increase. They're pro-Hamas. And they're saying how Israel is wrong for retaliating against Hamas because, the poor Palestinians. Granted, like I said, these are the same people that went ahead and praised Hamas for breaking through the border and going and murder 1,400 Jewish people. And ladies and gentlemen, it's sad, but they had this pro-Hamas protests at Freedom Square, and it moved to the White House. Now, ladies and gentlemen, these people didn't just go to the White House and hold up a sign. No, ladies and gentlemen, if you see the pictures, these pro-Hamas protesters went to Washington, to the White House, and were carrying Palestinian flags. Ladies and gentlemen, think about this. They were carrying Palestinian flags. They were also chanting Allah Akbar, which means God is good, but they're talking about Allah. And also that term is a cry for war. They also made some chants about Israel. And let me see. It's probably on my other... I think it's on this article. Let me see, because they had some other chants that were happening. Yes, they started to they shifted chant to raise your hand, make a fist. Black Lives Matter. Remember, that was Black Lives Matter's stand, was raise your hand and make a fist. Doesn't that sound? I'm gonna ask you a question right here, you the audience. Does that sound like a sign of rebellion? Think about it, okay? Because Black Lives Matter does it, and I know their thinking is it's a racial thing, and maybe this is what these pro-Hamas protesters are thinking. This is a racial thing, which it's not. It's a religious thing. But ladies and gentlemen, they said raise your fist, raise your hand, make a fist. Palestine will resist. The activists who convened on the White House fence had come from earlier protests in Freedom Plaza. I said Freedom Square, Freedom Plaza. And the protests were against Israel, military operatives targeting Hamas. So, ladies and gentlemen, they go to the White House with Palestinian flags. They call a chant that in Arabic means God is great, but at the same time is a war cry. And they tell people to raise their hand, make a fist, and that Palestine will resist. Now, this isn't talking to the Jewish people. This is talking to the White House, where crazy backwards Joe lives. And I don't know if he's seen this. We haven't heard anything from the White House. But, ladies and gentlemen, that wasn't the only thing they did. They went ahead and put fake blood on their hands, and they smeared the fence of the White House. Ladies and gentlemen, where's the calls for insurrection? I'm asking. And I had to find these stories on the Daily Caller and other conservative, town hall, red state conservative newspapers. I could not find none of these stories on mainstream media. I had a hard time finding some on Fox News. I had a hard time finding these stories, even on the Daily Wire. Look, I like Ben Shapiro. I like the Daily Wire. Hey, look, if they ever need another talk show host, give me a call. I would love to be on your programs. But ladies and gentlemen, you had pro-Palestinian protesters. Well, correction, I said I wasn't going to say that. Pro-Hamas protesters cheering on a terrorist group run to the White House, tens of thousands, that's what one of the articles said, waving Palestinian flags and saying Olar Okbar, which is a war cry, and saying that Palestine will resist. And you don't have a single major news network cover this? They must have been on break because it was the weekend. Ladies, and look, let's show hypocrisy at its finest right here. This is the difference. This is why the mainstream media did not show this on Saturday night. Because, and I said it, I think I said it on my last episode, I'm trying to remember, the Palestinian people that are in this country, that's their voters. People that were outside that White House, those people are mostly leftist votes. They vote Democrat. They vote for the leftist party of this nation, the Democrat Party. That is their votes, ladies and gentlemen. That's why they don't want to go ahead and call this out. And the media, another reason the media did not call this out, it wasn't conservatives. It wasn't conservatives waving an American flag. Because see, ladies and gentlemen, if that was conservatives at the White House and they smear fake blood on the fence and was saying make America great again, they would have went into special news report and they would have said that the White House was under attack. And that there was extremists and insurrectionists, and they would have been said, the left would have did a whole special news report because it was conservatives. But because it wasn't conservatives, it was pro-Hamas protesters that are mostly leftist votes. They don't say nothing. They maybe did say something. They maybe said, well, there's protesters at the White House today, and they were protesting America supporting Israel. Let's go on to the next story where we can bash Donald Trump. Ladies and gentlemen, this is all what the media is good for. Look, I use the media. I use Fox. I use Daily Wire. On occasion, I use CNN. I normally use a lot of political stuff because sometimes political has a good article. Ladies and gentlemen, why wasn't the story reported on none of these major networks? And look, I'm not throwing Daily Wire into the major. This is, like I said, and they maybe did put a story in. I don't read every minute. I'm not looking to see what the new story is. But ladies and gentlemen, I'm just saying, isn't it weird that we had pro-Hamas protesters go to the Capitol, to the White House, not even the Capitol. I'm talking about the Capitol of the United States, Washington, D.C. They go to Washington, D.C., and there's no story about it. There's no story about these people smearing fake blood on America's White House, the fence of the White House. Ladies and gentlemen, but they want to call us extremists. And look, it's going to tie into what I talked about last week with Karine Jean-Pierre and John Kirby not acknowledging these people as being extremists or acknowledging that these people are domestic terrorists. But it's easy for them to call MAGA extremists or the conservatives MAGA extremists. It's easy for them to call a parent a domestic terrorist When a father goes to a school board meeting and the school board meeting shoots him down and won't let him talk, and they arrest him and call him a domestic terrorist. Ladies and gentlemen, this is hypocrisy at its finest. And look, I'm wondering, where are the calls for the insurrection? Where is the media talking about? And look, on a point like this, these people wait on January 6th. I understand there was people in the Capitol. I understand there was people that went into the Capitol. But ladies and gentlemen, at least these people were hauling American flags. Because look, let's use that for example as well. Look, I have flags or replicas of flags in this office right here. I have one right in the back of me. I have one in the corner. I have a beautiful wood carving of an American eagle with a flag right here. And ladies and gentlemen, people see this and they go haywire. I can't believe you're waving the American flag. The American flag is offensive. The American flag is this. These people were waving another country's flag, and you're not hearing nothing about that either. It's sad when the media will condemn somebody in America for waving an American flag in support of his country. But you have thousands of people in front of the White House waving a foreign flag, a Palestinian flag, and there's nothing said about it. Ladies and gentlemen, normally, and I'm making a bold statement here, normally, when somebody goes up to a leader's house with a different flag, that means that's an assault. Ladies and gentlemen, look, going to the war of, I think it was 1812, where the British took over the Capitol and burned a lot of our buildings at that time. They weren't waving an American flag. They were waving a British flag. That meant that we was invaded. And ladies and gentlemen, this is why, where's the call for, this is not the calls for insurrection. Where is the calls for the invasions? And look, this isn't just happening in the United States. This is happening all over the world. Don't get me wrong, ladies and gentlemen. But I'm so frustrated with the media not doing their job. It's sad that a backwood Cajun has to make a podcast and tell you, the American citizens, what's going on in this country. That's why we have the freedom of the press in America, for the press to hold accountable the elected officials. But when the press is in the left's pocket, there is no non-bias. Ladies and gentlemen, this is dangerous that we have people going to the White House. And look, I know a lot of you that are on the left that probably listen to this show. Well, hold on, Isaac. What about January 6th? Well, I covered all January 6th. I said I think it was dumb that people went in there. And I'm not trying to call other fellow conservatives or fellow Americans dumb, but you should have let the process go through. Okay? Look, Congress people can challenge an election on the day they do the electoral votes. They used to have to have one congressman and one senator. Now there's another whole process. They changed the whole process since January 6th. But ladies and gentlemen, they could do that in the Capitol when they're counting the electoral votes. But because of January 6th, they couldn't do it. And look, before all you fact checkers start trying to catch me on something, listen, Democrats did it for years. They did it with George Bush in 2001. They did it with Bush in 2005. The Democrats did that. But ladies and gentlemen, going back to the flag, this wasn't people with American flags protesting. This was people that were pro-Hamas cheering on the Hamas terrorists and telling America to back off support of Israel. This wasn't Americans waving the American flag. But it's sad that the American flag is more offensive than the Palestinian flag. And ladies and gentlemen, look, this is why we have, look, where all these people come from. Somebody asked me, I don't know if these are Palestinian people that were born here or what, but ladies and gentlemen, what if these were people that came across the border? That's a question we have to ask. We have reports of the border being overwhelmed, ladies and gentlemen. Over 8 million people in the last 3 years. Where all those people come from? Are these people that have crossed over the border? we don't know where. Like I said, it bothers me that you had in Freedom Plaza, you had thousands of people protesting. I'm not against that. Look, in America, you have the right to your opinion. Okay? I'm not against. Look, if you're pro Hamas, hey, you can go protest if you want. But rushing the White House, damaging public property, and waving another flag in front of that White House and yelling Olar Okbar, I hope I'm saying that right, which is a cry for war. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm asking the media, where is your call? Where is your reporting that there was an insurrection on Saturday night? I promise you, ladies and gentlemen, it won't happen. Why? Because the media is biased. And if you're not part of the left, hey, you get crucified. Look, I promise you, if that was a group waving American flags and telling the president to not do something that would, like, hey, build a wall, oh, they would have had news articles. Protests at the White House turning to insurrection. Ladies and gentlemen, look, I'm asking, where are the calls for insurrection? Where is the labeling this? Where are the people that are labeling this an insurrection? I really want to know. With that being said, we're going to go ahead and take a break. We'll be right back in a few moments, so please stay tuned. How you doing, everyone? Isaac Hayes here. I'm here to talk to you about Smith Truck and Equipment Sales. I've been part of the trucking industry for a few years now, and I know the importance of finding a company that won't just sell you a truck or piece of equipment, but will take the time to know you and help you through the process and checking in on you after the sale. That's why we are proud to announce our partnership with Smith Truck and Equipment Sales. Smith Truck and Equipment Sales is a family-owned and operated pre-owned truck and trailer dealership in Lafayette, Louisiana, who have been serving Acadiana for over 40 years. They offer full service, parts and accessories, and financing. They also buy used trucks of all makes and models. You can visit Monday through Friday from 7:30 to 5 at their location at 3010 Northeast Evangeline Thruway, or visit their website, SmithTruckSales.com. You can also give them a call at 337-234-0557 and let their friendly and experienced staff take care of all your truck and trailer needs. Smith Truck and Equipment Sales. Tell them the Cajun Conservative sent you.
Your blood cleansed and made us whole. Not one hub, not one soul.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the second segment of the Cajun Conservative Show. Just thinking about something, ladies and gentlemen, this is the same media that were saying that when President Trump was in the White House, and a lot of people don't remember this, but I remember this, when the George Floyd protests / riots were happening. And they had one on Washington, D.C., and they had to put the president in a bunker because people were storming the White House and were trying to breach the White House to get to Donald Trump. Remember, the media that refuses to call what happened Saturday night an insurrection are the same people that called that a mostly peaceful protest. Ladies and gentlemen, I remember when they had to put President Trump in a bunker because people were about to storm the White House to get to him because of the George Floyd riots and other things that were happening at that time. This is the same media that condemned Donald Trump for going in front of a church that was burned by protests and condemning Donald Trump. Now, they did condemn the violence of the protesters or whatever, but remember, they never called them rioters. They never called them insurrectionists. They called them mostly peaceful protests. Or it was a demonstration of freedom. This is the same media. And ladies and gentlemen, like I said, it's sad that a backwoods Cajun has to come out of his log cabin into his P-roll, and this is a joke, and I don't have a P-roll. I don't have a backwoods cabin. I got a house. But I'm just saying, ladies and gentlemen, this backwoods Cajun got to come make a podcast to tell you what the media isn't. And like I said, maybe they went ahead. Oh, they had some issues Saturday night at the White House. But I promise you, they didn't make it sound like they were insurrectionists. They didn't make it sound like they were evil. It was a demonstration for support for the Palestinian people. That's how the media say it. And ladies and gentlemen, it's not. Ladies and gentlemen, the media, if they continue going this way, they're not helping America. They're hurting America because they're hiding the stories that you, the American citizens, should know. And the reason they're hiding these stories is because they don't want to see President Biden lose embarrassingly in 2024. Just saying. On the same lines of anti-Semitism and these protests with Israel, and ladies and gentlemen, Israel has advanced into Gaza at this time. They had some issues with these pro-Hamas protests. One, and we talked about it at great length last episode, where Jewish college students, they had to be locked in a library because pro-Hamas protesters were after them. We had in Russia pro-Hamas protesters going after a plane where Jewish people were inside, and this is in Russia, so, and they gave their intentions were to hurt these Jewish people. The Jewish people around college campuses are being persecuted, all because their mother country, Israel, is defending itself against Hamas. And ladies and gentlemen, Congress has spoken to condemn what is going on in college campuses, but that is not the story I'm talking about. I'm talking about the ones that voted against this resolution. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. There was a House Resolution 798 was a resolution that condemned what was going on in college campuses of the anti-Semitic comments and things. Look, there was one guy that got arrested that gave threats online to Jewish people. He said he was going to hurt Jewish people because he was a pro-Hamas person. And ladies and gentlemen, I think this resolution is correct. That Congress is not censoring or stopping people's free speech, because I'm mentioning that because there was one Republican that did not vote for it, and I'm gonna dive into that. But ladies and gentlemen, this was not all this was doing was saying, look, we do not agree with this. This should not happen. Look, you have the freedom of speech. You have an opinion. You can say what you want. I understand it with freedom of speech. But if you act upon that free speech, that's when it becomes a crime. Okay? If you say, look, you can say I'm against Israel defending itself against Hamas. You have the right to say that. But for you to go attack Jewish people because you have that feeling, that's when it's wrong. Because you should not action upon that. You can say you disagree with that, but at the same time, you shouldn't say, well, I'm going to act on it. I'm going to hurt this person. That's wrong. And ladies and gentlemen, Congress did right. Congress went ahead and condemned this. Now, continuing to what I was saying, this is from Fox News. More than 20 Democrats and one Republican voted against a Thursday House resolution to condemn anti-Semitics on college campuses. More than 20 Democrats voted against this, and one Republican. Who were the Democrats? Well, there was 22 Democrats that opposed this, and there's no shocker. Listen to a few names. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez voted against this. She did not condemn the violence that was happening on college campuses. Now, if this was a resolution that would go against Black Lives Matter, or if this was a resolution that had Palestinians locked in a library and Jewish men and women were trying to get to them, she would have voted for this resolution to condemn that, but not Palestinians threatening Jewish people. That was a no-no. Ilham Omar, same thing. Hey, we have, I believe, Tlaib voted for this. Cori Bush did. I'm trying to find other names. Maxine Waters. So Maxine Waters, the person that's for racial justice in America, voted against people going after a group of people because of their race. Think about this. Maxine Waters all the time says, oh, we need to be understanding to the black community because of all things that happen to them. Oh, we cannot be racist. No, white people can't be racist to the black people. And she says that all the time. But when you have Palestinians going after Jewish people because of their race, Maxine Waters don't want to condemn that. I'm just, hey, who else? Oh, see if anybody else there's some names that are not, but that's not enough. Okay, the ladies and gentlemen, these Democrats don't want to condemn anti-Semitic actions on college campuses. Now, there was one Republican, surprisingly, Representative Thomas Massey from Kentucky. Come on, Kentucky. Y'all can do better. I'm just saying. Went ahead and voted against the resolution because over freedom of speech. He felt that, well, let me read his quote. He said this on an X post. He said, free speech means protection speech you don't like, not just speech you do like. Also, what defines anti-Semitics? Marcy wrote in a post on X explaining his vote. Ladies and gentlemen, that's coming against anti-Semitic wording is you coming against one person because of their race. In this case, the Jewish people. Look, Israel's around their enemies. They have Iran, they have Egypt, Egypt hasn't done anything too extreme, but Lebanon, they have all these people that are after Israel. And anti-Semitic words or anti-Semitic language is you coming against the Jewish people. Okay, that's what that means. Him saying, "Well, who can explain that?" Well, that is the definition of it. Now, on his world of free speech, I explained it a while ago. I will briefly talk about it again. I understand his concern for free speech, but Congress was not restricting free speech from anybody. They were condemning what was happening on college campuses. So this dude to be elected into the House of Representatives and say, "Well, I don't know what is the definition of anti-Semitic." Or what is also what I believe free speech is. No, you are probably a rhino, sir. I'm sorry for you not to stand with Israel on that small part. I hate to see if you had to make a big decision. Now, going back to the House resolution. This was a bipartisan vote, and it passed overwhelmingly, 396 to 23. This resolution passed. Congress is condemning. So props to the Democrats that did vote for this. And they said, look, we're not going to condone this stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, 23 of our representatives refuse to condemn pro-Hamas protesters. Ladies and gentlemen, and look, I read some of the Democrats. I didn't see Ilhan Omar. So Ilhan Omar's on there. Cori Bush, a lot of the famous squad members vote for this, which don't surprise me. Because, ladies and gentlemen, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Ilhan Omar, Cori Bush, and almost every one of the squad that voted for this are pro-Muslim. They're not, unfortunately, their allegiance are more towards the Muslim faith than to our U.S. Constitution. And it's sad. It's sad that we have that. All right, moving on. I want to go ahead and talk about the elections that are coming up, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm talking about this because I had a listener on YouTube comment on one of my videos, and they were asking if we're covering the national elections on Tuesday night. Now, I know that they had some elections happening. I didn't know it was more of a national election. But there is some big races. There's the Kentucky race. There's a couple of state Senate races. There's a lot of big races Tuesday night. Global national election. Unfortunately, I am booked for something else that night. But if I finish early, I might jump on and read some. Go ahead and do some election coverage. Election coverage. It takes a little bit. Like we're November 18th is Louisiana runoff races, and we're doing election coverage for that. And ladies and gentlemen, that takes a lot. We have to plan people, and it's hard to do it by yourself. Look, last election coverage videos last election coverage we did. We had a blast. We had Culper's Canteen Cup on for the first one. This time we had Kelby Daigle with us, and we had some politicians call in. We had some people call in that were visiting parties. It was real fun. But the reason I'm talking about this right here, ladies and gentlemen, these elections, because they're very important. Before we go on, let's talk about elections right here in Louisiana. We have runoff elections coming up on November 18th. We're going to have state representative candidate from 64th District, Kellie Alford, coming on, and please stay tuned for that in the third segment. But in Louisiana, the job isn't done. Now, ladies and gentlemen, when I say the job isn't done, we have a governor that's a Republican. That's going to be a Republican. Governor-elect Landry, can't wait to see what he's going to do. Hopefully, one day Jeff will be on the show. Ladies and gentlemen, we have tons of people in Louisiana that are running. Now, Jeff's a governor, like we said, but the job ain't done yet. Now, how do we get this country back on the right track? Well, ladies and gentlemen, it takes states like Kentucky, and I have a political article. I'm going to bring it up because they talk about how a couple of states they're hanging in the balance. Because it says Democrats have two big governor races in Trump states next week, and that's talking about Tuesday night. At the time, at this, it'll be tomorrow night if you're listening. But there's races in Kentucky, there's races in Mississippi. Now, Mississippi has an incumbent in there. Ladies and gentlemen, Mississippi, if you're listening, you should vote for your current governor. He has turned your state around. He has put in great conservative policies, and Mississippi is blooming. Kentucky has been suffering for the last couple of years. Y'all need to vote for your lieutenant governor that's running for governor right now. Excellent choice. And there's other races that are going about. But ladies and gentlemen, if you live in any of these states that have elections Tuesday night, you need to go out and vote. You need to go out and vote. You need to go out and look. If you're a conservative, which I hope all my audience is, you need to vote Republican, and you need to vote for the Republican that's going to help you. Now, our state is different. As we said, we had a general election in October where we voted Jeff Landry in, but Jeff Landry, if he would have lost 2% of the vote, we was going to be in a runoff. We would have been kind of in the same boat as y'all guys. We would have had an election in November. Now, we don't have ours on that Tuesday. This election is like the election day for the national thing, for all the country. But ladies and gentlemen, you need to vote Republican. And look, I'm not saying the Republicans are the solution to all your problems, because they're not. But ladies and gentlemen, the Democrats are the cause of all your problems. And I didn't make that up. That is Dan Bongino. If you're listening to this show, you probably listen to Dan Bongino. But ladies and gentlemen, Republicans, they're not the solution, but at the same time, they could lead us to a solution. Okay? These elections that are coming up are very important in these states. Kentucky, Mississippi. I've seen Virginia is having a critical race for, I don't know, for their governor, but at the same time, I think it's their state legislation. Ladies and gentlemen, the very important state elections. Now, this is going to preview, I believe, what's going to happen in 2024. Now, this is what the mainstream media is pushing. They're pushing that, hey, look, if conservatives and Republicans have a good turnout on Tuesday night, that means that Donald Trump is probably going to win. And this is why I'm saying Donald Trump, because there's a third debate going on. I don't even know when it's going to be. People are not talking about it. A lot of Republicans have backed out. Mike Pence and others have backed out of these races. Ladies and gentlemen, Donald Trump's going to be the nominee. I know that. And look, I like Ron DeSantis, but I honestly think Donald Trump's going to be the next nominee. And this is how the mainstream media is coming up. Look, if the Democrats have a bad night on Tuesday night, 9 out of 10, the Republicans are going to win the presidency, whoever the candidate is. Now, we're going to have to wait and see, because, ladies and gentlemen, we went on false hopes last time for 2022 and stuff, saying, hey, all the numbers are showing this and all. Look, I know for sure Americans are not happy in the current situation the country's in. As I said in one of my videos, the country's in a mess. And ladies and gentlemen, it's all at the hands of the Democrat Party. Look, let's just use the border, for example. If you look at the border, Donald Trump kept out majority of illegal immigrants. Now, there were people coming over. We know that. But ladies and gentlemen, under President Biden, it's not, we let one slide. They're like, hey, we're going to let millions slide. And 8 million people are in this country that should not be in this country. Ladies and gentlemen, I saw one article. I think they say that's like the population of 37 states. Now, that's probably all the small states. But ladies and gentlemen, that is a problem. Just the border. Let's use gas prices, ladies and gentlemen. I remember when Trump got out of office, and here in Louisiana, we was paying like $1.50 to $1.75. Now it's going down because it's winter and it tends to go down. We're paying $2.60 to $2.75 right now. But ladies and gentlemen, don't you remember gas? I know here in Louisiana almost reached $5 a gallon. I'm trying to remember who it was. They said they went to California and they were paying $9 a gallon, close to $9 a gallon. So ladies and gentlemen, President Biden has not helped. The Democrat Party has not helped, and Americans are tired of this. Now, this Tuesday night, we know this is a lot of state races. There's no representatives. There's no senators that I'm aware of. But ladies and gentlemen, this plays a big role. Do the states that are like Kentucky and Mississippi and Virginia and other states that are holding elections, if they have a big turnout of Republicans, that means that people are tired of Democrat policies. Now, Republicans need to take advantage of this and do good policies. Not say, we won. We're going to run on the coattails of Donald Trump, and we're not going to do nothing. That's when Republicans fail, because people start looking at that and say, well, the Republicans didn't help me, so we're going to go back to Democrat. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is my view on Tuesday. I know there's a lot of elections. I promise I will try to get on. If I can't get on, I apologize in advance. Like I said, I got meetings going on that night, so we're gonna I will try to get into the studio. I will be in the studio because one of those meetings is through a Zoom call. But ladies and gentlemen, we will see what happens. I will try to jump on and possibly go on YouTube and Facebook and Rumble, and we'll see at least going live. And look, people are asking, hey, you gonna do election coverage? I guess I'm doing something right. So, with that being said, we're going to take our final break of this show. And on the other side, we're going to have Miss Kellie Alford. She's running for state representative in the great state of Louisiana in District 64. And we're going to be talking to her. So please stay tuned for that. With that being said, we'll take our break. We'll be right back in a few moments. So please stay tuned. How you doing, everyone? Isaac here, and I'm here to tell you about a great company called Give-A-Derm. There's a lot of skincare products out in the market today, but none like Give-A-Derm. Give-A-Derm is a great American Christian conservative company that prides itself in making skincare products that will help your skin to stay healthy. Not like other skincare products that have toxins and chemicals that can hurt your skin. Do you know what goes on your skin is in your bloodstream in 30 seconds? So you want to be careful what you put on your body. That's why Give-A-Derm products are made with all natural ingredients to keep your skin healthy. My family has used Give-A-Derm products, and we love it because it works. If you would like to try Give-A-Derm and experience this great American-made product, go into the description of this episode. There you'll find a link to Give-A-Derm and see what they have to offer you. At checkout, use the promo code BGSmedia10 to get 10% off your product. Thanks, guys.
You're my peace of mind. When this old world seems to get me down.
Yes, when the world gets me down, Jesus lifts me up. You know, ladies and gentlemen, I play that song a lot, and with all the world's problems, guess what? Jesus is still in control. I say it at the end of every episode. Don't get faint of heart, because Jesus overcome the world. So, that's what we should look forward to. Amen. So with that being said, as we announced in a couple of other segments, we have Miss Kellie Alford joining us. She is running for state rep of District 64, and she has been on the show already, but this time she's one step closer to getting to that seat. Miss Kellie, welcome back to the Cajun Conservative Show. How you doing, ma'am?
I'm doing great, Isaac. How are you?
I'm blessed and highly favored. especially after what just happened with us. We was talking off air, getting ready for this segment, and the Lord was just moving.
Love it.
That, hey, you gotta love it. And look, Miss Kellie, that's what I like about you as, running for state rep. You are a Bible-believing Christian, and the state needs conservatism. The state needs a change, but at the same time, it needs God-fearing people in the state house, and just not in the state house. Look, props to Mike Johnson for becoming House Speaker. He is a Bible-believing Christian. Yeah. A lot of people wonder how wildfire starts. It takes one spark, and we need little sparks to start up this Holy Ghost revival in the country of America and the state of Louisiana.
Amen. Amen to that. And you're right. Mike Johnson, an amazing believer, extremely conservative, Christian conservative man. And we couldn't have asked for a better speaker. But, we need to really cover him in prayer, because you know how the mainstream media is, and they're just their agenda, their leftist agenda, and they're making fun of him and his walk with the Lord, and how true to that he is. And of course, we as believers are excited and encouraged because he's true to what he says he is, where we've seen so many times, unfortunately, people get into politics and that kind of thing, and they have the titles and stuff, but not the substance to back it up. So definitely a great step for our country to have Mike Johnson as Speaker of the House.
And I told people, I think I said on 2 episodes before this one, where I labeled Christianity's under attack in America. And, look, Kevin McCarthy was attacked, but he was never beat down like Mike Johnson is right now. And all because of his Christian faith. And that's sad, Miss Kellie, because our founding fathers, they look, were all of them Christian? No, they were not. But they had so much of a reverence for God and his word that they lived by the principle of the Bible. Now we have journalists, or so-called journalists, saying, well, his worldview is the Bible. Oh, that it don't shape his worldview. That is his worldview. That is like committing treason here in America now.
Yeah. It's really unfortunate, because if they only understood the blessings that come with somebody who has that as their worldview, who has that as their moral compass, the blessings that follow, all of them will reap it. But unfortunately, they're too blind by their agenda to see it, unfortunately.
Yes, ma'am. Well, Louisiana has also been in the headlines, and we're going to talk about this going into the state races now. As we said, Mike Johnson is the Speaker of the House. Steve Scalise is still the majority leader. But Louisiana last month had a real good, well, as for conservatives, liberals are crying, but as conservatives, we're really happy. We had a blowout in the last election. Jeff Landry picking up 52% of the vote. Liz Monroe is supposed to be the Attorney General. She's ahead, and all the Republicans that were running has endorsed her. Yeah. John Fleming had a real good turnout. He's in a runoff election. That's all happening on November 18th, and we will have an election coverage here on November 18th. Have a great panel already planned. But in your race in 64, in your parish, you got into the runoff, and you had people that was supposed to blow you out the water, but you're still standing tall.
That's right. That's right. And look, we're beyond excited. My campaign is a grassroots populist movement. And I like to throw in the word conservative grassroots populist, because we've worked hard. We've gone to the voter. We've, where my name wasn't out there in the public. And a lot of that was because, I knew a lot of people in my community and in my parish, and even Baton Rouge, all over the state, know a lot of people. But with our company, it was organic in our growth. We never had to market. I never put billboards out on the highways, Alford's Landscaping or what have you, with Scott and myself and the accomplishments or any of that kind of stuff. I never did any of that. Our growth was through word of mouth. It was through referrals. Better Business Bureau. That was it. But so that was my biggest challenge, was nobody knew who I was. They didn't know Kellie Alford, the small business owner who, her and her husband built a business from the ground up, proud to say, completely debt free. We've just made good, sound decisions and, just grew it organically. So that was my mission. And that's what we went after. Me and several of my volunteers who I absolutely adore, who have gotten behind me. We got out there and we began knocking on doors and we began reaching people and doing text messages. And I worked really hard on my social media and expanding that reach. And here we are. We got into the runoff. And you're absolutely right. Nobody expected that to happen, but we're here.
Now you're running. I was trying to look up on the Go Vote app. Your opponent, he's a Republican or she's a Republican or?
Yes, it's a woman, and she is a Republican.
So you got two Republicans in this race, and that. Do you think that will split the vote? Because I believe you were ahead in the runoff, correct? Or you came in second?
Overall, I came in second.
Okay.
I won in East Baton Rouge with those numbers when those districts close or with the poll stations close. But yeah, and that's the thing. You have two Republicans in the race. The difference is I'm not a career politician. I'm a business owner. I have never run for office before. My opponent's been in office for over 12 years. They may have ran unopposed, but they've still been in an elected office for 12 years, and they've been making decisions and that kind of thing. So that is a difference between me and my opponent. The other side of it is I don't owe anybody. I didn't get in the race to get endorsements or accolades or pats on the back. And honestly, Isaac, we've talked about it before. My race is different because I believe what the Lord has for me to do for the people of District 64 is different. That is to bring back the sovereignty of we the people and our voices. And that's not going to look like your normal political campaign or a race in that capacity. So I'm okay with that. And look, we're seeing great results. People that we're talking to, people who voted for other people, they're voting for me now. So I'm excited about November 18th.
Yeah, it's gonna be hopefully it's gonna be a good day. I think it's gonna be a good day statewide because, like I said, we have 3 statewide elections and
Nancy Landry too.
Yeah, Nancy Landry, Secretary of State. Now the only thing that I worry about, especially in races like yours, look, I'm happy Jeff won outright. You get what I'm saying? But at the same time, that governor's race ain't on the ballot. So we already had, I believe it was a 36% turnout statewide.
So 40%.
It was 40. Yeah, us too. I think ours was like at 38, 40%. It was low, but if it was low on that type of an election, we really need to encourage people to go vote on November 18th because, if you look at the charts, it's going to be a lower turnout this time around.
Right. You're right. And that's been our biggest push and encouragement is whoever gets their voters out to the poll is going to win. And so that's why we're doing our part to reach our voters and encourage them to vote. But, when we voted the other day, early voting started on Friday due to Veterans Day. And the registrar had said by 1 o'clock on that first day, they had already had 500 people come in.
Wow.
Vote, which is, he expected that to be the entire day. So that is encouraging. That is very encouraging. And I think the message, especially from, Governor-elect Landry, as well as other campaigns like Liz Murrill, saying, guys, we need you to get out and vote. It is imperative that you get out and vote.
And I like the messaging, though. The job isn't done yet, because a lot of people in Louisiana, and look, especially here in St. Martin Parish, a lot of people were for Jeff Landry.
All right.
And they were pushing, look, go vote for Jeff. Go vote for Jeff. And a lot of people think that, oh, well, Jeff Landry is the governor now. Louisiana's fine. No, we still have a job to do. Right. Well, and especially in your district, you're running for 64. If we if you get elected, you're a good conservative Christian person, and you're going to go ahead and push that. And if Jeff Landry wants to push an agenda that is right for Louisiana, and you see that, you can vote for it.
Yeah.
And that's why the job's not done yet. We have to show up on November 18th, and we have to vote.
No, I agree. And you made a very good point. We have to have all the pieces there, because in order to turn our state around, you know, you need people that won't back up. You need people who aren't bought or are part of the political machine. And I feel like we have several candidates that either have already won or in their runoff currently, who have a good chance of, you know, they're working hard and that kind of thing. So I have a hope in my heart, because, you know, all the pieces that are needed in order to get our state moving in the opposite direction that it is currently headed, is going to be in place. Because again, taxes, I mean, our rights as Louisianians, you know, our governor, the office of governor, I don't know if you know this, but it's the authority that the office of governor has in Louisiana is second to New Jersey. And what that means is that, you know, what we saw during the COVID shutdown with John Bel Edwards, when he issued an unconstitutional executive order and he kept us shut down for an extended period of time, he was able to do that because of that authority that he has through our Constitution. When you have a good governor, it doesn't affect, you don't even feel it, right? You don't even sense it, know it, none of that. But when you have a governor that's not for we the people, you're going to feel it, because you're going to feel those rights infringed upon. You're going to feel the effects of that. So those are big major issues that we need to address while we have a constitutional based governor who has already been in there fighting for our freedoms and standing up for them. And then you couple that again with those pieces of a good AG who again was in there doing the same thing, fighting alongside for our rights and freedoms. And then you have a Secretary of State who will back the process of our right to vote. And I'm gonna tell you that the voter rolls need to be cleaned up. This is my first time to run, and I'm surprised nobody up until this point has said anything or done anything about it. It's wild when you call somebody and they're like, I live in another state, or people who are deceased or what have you. But again, getting back to it, having all the pieces that we need to get our state in a good working order to where the people are feeling the effects, good effects from the laws that are being, you know, the legislation that are happening and the laws that are being created. And God forbid, and God willing, we can undo some of the bad effects and some of the bad laws that have been put into place.
Yeah, we got a rocky road to start off. And look, I'm at the time of this recording, I'm going to be visiting with State Representative-elect Chad Boyer, and I tell him this all the time. You know, hey, we need some good. We need things. We need to stop being on the top of every bad list and at the bottom of every good list. And as I said, we're going on a rocky road.
Yeah.
The rocky road is that because a lot of people expect Jeff and y'all guys, if you get elected, to change everything on day one. It's not going to be changed on day one. That first session, if it's special session or the regular session, it's going to be a doozy, because you know I believe there's going to be a spending issue that we're going to have to go on. So there's a lot of things that are happening.
Yeah.
And that this is why we need good conservatives like yourself. And I'm going to give him a shout out to Chad Boyer. If you're listening, great job, buddy. But you know, you get what I'm saying? Y'all guys that are going in there, y'all going to be fresh. And it's y'all going to have to change. You have to make some difficult decisions on that first day.
Well, and you're absolutely right. And look, I'm raring to go because my personality is the same. Just like I went from being a stay-at-home mom to running the business with my husband side by side and creating everything within our office, contracts, policies, procedures, dealing with all the insurance, dealing with the state, all the different things. I mean, I even was involved in bills that would affect our industry, working with my then currently Senator-elect Valerie Hodges, but then Representative Valerie Hodges. So That is my personality. I don't wait for somebody to tell me what to do. I figure it out. I go to work. I start making the connections and the relationships, and asking the questions that are necessary, or going and seeking out the matter on my own. And that's what it's going to take. 110%. Not a mindset of I can come and go from committee, deals already made in the back room. Look, there's so much stuff. If we get our minds right and we get it back to what the forefathers intended for legislators, and that is to focus on we the people and being statesmen and stateswomen, then we can truly get a lot accomplished. But if we have if you have, I don't want to use the word lame duck, but just, if you have that attitude of, I'm complacent. I mean, whatever, then we're not going to get a lot accomplished. But me, I'm ready to go to work 110%. And if elected, if the people honor me with their vote, they have me 110% for the next 4 years. Nothing else matters.
And like you said, and look, this is why we encourage people, I guess you could say endorsed here at the Cajun Conservative, Ms. Kellie Alford, because look, the machine has been running this state for a while. Look, Clay Snyder, I'm glad he lost for Secretary of State. The dude was not a good president for the House of Representatives. You are Speaker of the House.
Yeah.
You had other people that were in there. Look, to get Clay Snyder in there, he crossed over with the Democrats, and he was holding to them all the time, and yep. that's the issue that we're having now. Ms. Kellie, before we let you go, I do want to ask one more question, because if you get elected, and I know you're not elected now, but you probably think about these things. Who do you think you're going to vote for House Speaker if that becomes comes a reality? Because that's the first vote. And look, props to Moon Gafran. He apologized to you on air because there was some confusion going on right there. But look,
hear it. I've been trying to find the podcast. I've emailed him. He said his guy Brandon been sick. I'm like, because you mentioned that my uncle called me, and I was like, wait, what? I have not gotten one phone call, no text message. I don't know nothing about none of this stuff that's been mentioned. And so I made steps to try to reach out to him, and I did finally reach him, and I explained to him, and I even reminded him, I said, Moon, I said, I was part of the moms, and because he did an interview with two ladies and about a situation with Clay Snyder. It's a story back during the COVID deal with the football moms and stuff like that. And I was supposed to be at that meeting, and I was sick that day, and he interviewed them because he was livid about how it was an ambush. Well, anyway, and when I was telling him all this, he was like, I'll apologize right now, like on the air right now, So I really appreciated him doing that.
Yeah, and like I said, shout out to Moon Gafran, man. He did. Look, I would do the same thing. If I've said something and some other story came out, I would go ahead and apologize as well. But but going to that point, Moon is one of the people that are pushing for reps to get a conservative House Speaker. And look, I'm not trying to piggyback off of Moon Gafran, but at the same time, I'm concerned about that as well, because look what happened last time. We almost had a supermajority House and a supermajority Senate, and a few Republicans decided, hey, we're going to team up with the left and get our guy in there. And for the past 4 years, John Bel Edwards has been getting everything he wants. So exactly. Do you see, like, at this moment, do you want a certain person in there, or
No, so Mike Johnson put out a request and to everybody, incumbent, those that one didn't have an opponent, or those that want anybody. I basically signed that pledge that I was going to agree with the Republican delegation, and when it came down to who they thought, I think it gets narrowed down to 3 people. And honestly, I know a little bit about it, but my focus is to win the race right now. Okay. And that is my complete focus. But absolutely, I would want somebody who is a conservative, a real conservative, somebody that will, come alongside the governor, come alongside the legislators. Some of the people that I've been told that are in the the mix or whatever, because I don't know if it's been, the last time I talked to somebody, I think it was down to like 5 people. I don't know, it might be more now, because again, I have been so focused on just running my race. I would talk to them. I want to talk to them, and I want to, you know, see what they're about, because some of these people I don't know. I know Julie Emerson. I've met her once through Louisiana Women's League. She came and spoke with us. I went to one of their candidate classes that they put on, which was phenomenal for women who want to run for office. And you know, I love her personality. I love her spunk. I mean, she's a strong woman, but you know, I want to meet the other candidates as well. So so that would be me. I would want to vet them. I would want to talk to them. I want to ask them questions and see what they stand for.
Hey, great answer, because I know you're gonna do well. Well, you already know you're welcome on this show anytime. So you know I'm praying that you get elected, and when you do get elected, you know we're gonna get you back on and talk. We might even get you on the special night. We're gonna have to talk about that off air, but. The election, November 18th, ladies and gentlemen. If you live in District 64, go ahead and vote for Kellie Alford. And I'm trying to make sure I say that right. Last time I messed up. This time I'm not going to mess up. I'm determined not to mess up on another name. But anyway, Miss Kellie, if you have any final words you want to say to your voters.
Well, look, Isaac, again, it's always a pleasure to be here with you. I am honored. It's like I put a video out the other day, just how thankful I am. Thankful that I have the opportunity to run. Thankful for the process that our forefathers established and set up for us to be able to, you know, serve the people, to be public servants. And I'm thankful that it's just been an amazing journey. It's been an amazing journey. It's been fun. It's been full of joy. It's been full of, you know, kind people, meeting those voters. I'm just full of joy. I'm full of thankfulness. I really don't know how to say it other than to say it that way. But in all seriousness, though, we need people to get out and vote. And I say this to people all the time. Your voice is your vote. Your vote is your voice. And don't let that be taken away from you because you feel like, what's the point? Why bother? There is a great point. It is your voice. It is your legacy. It is the next generation's legacy. So please get out and vote. And obviously, I would be absolutely honored if you would vote for Kellie Alford, State Representative, District 64.
Ms. Kellie, as always, it's a pleasure to have you, and we'll be talking to you soon. 2 weeks away, I believe, huh? 2 weeks away until election night.
I'm so excited.
Cook a gumbo. Get your husband to cook some of that good food we was talking about earlier. You know.
Yes, sir. I will.
Ms. Kellie, thank you. That was Miss Kellie Alford. Almost messed up right there. Hitting the wrong button on that. All right, there we go. If you're watching on the YouTube side, you saw some things going on. It's okay. Just hitting wrong buttons. Again, go vote for Miss Kellie Alford. Insists State Representative District 64. Great voice for Louisiana. She would do great things alongside all the other conservatives that are there, and it'll fit real good with Jeff Landry. If you're a Jeff Landry voter, go out and vote in District 64, Miss Alford. So with that being said, that's going to end this episode of the Cajun Conservative Show. Please remember, Jesus Christ is King. He's coming back, and he's coming back soon. So don't be faint of heart, because Jesus has overcome the world. If you want to know Jesus, your Lord and Savior, reach out to us at the Cajun Conservative Show, and we'll tell you how to make Jesus your Savior and heaven your home. Remember to like and subscribe to the show. That helps me out more than you know, ladies and gentlemen, more than you know. Please hit the subscribe button, follow button on the audio platform side and YouTube and Rumble. And also get ready, November 18th, special election coverage. That's an event I love to have. So until next time, be blessed, be encouraged. You have a good one.
He said that Jesus Christ has risen, and he is the open door.